Welcome back to In the Garden. I'm here with Jordan from Grange Co-op, and today we're talking about moles and gophers. As you can see, we've got some piles here at KDRV.
We have a visitor.
We have some visitors, and we have some non-lethal options to getting rid of those moles and gophers. There's a difference between what the goal is for each animal. What can you tell us?
So I get a lot of folks telling me I got something in my yard. Most of the times people assume it's a gopher. Their vision of what a gopher is Looney Tunes, a little hole in the ground, eating all their plants. But what they're only seeing is this. This is a telltale mole sign. Moles free forage for grubs and worms. They are absolutely not eating your plants. They might nudge a new planting, but they're not going after your seedlings. But when they push up their dirt as they're foraging, in a tough, thick mat of roots like your sod, the dirt can't go back down. In your perennial bed, your back 40, stuff that's looser, you can tamp that back down, that's fine. But this is where it's a nuisance for people. Your mowers are hitting dirt clods and stuff.
Right.
So I tell people, try to come up to a mutually agreeable solution. Repellents are a great way to go. We have a couple more common options. Your sonic spikes emit a very high-pitched sound. You can kind of hear it if your hearing is really good. Almost sounds like a beeper going off in the background. There are solar and battery-operated options, depending what's better for you. Some people swear by these. Other people have said they don't have the best success, but that is something to consider.
Okay.
What I've gotten a lot better response with is the repellents that are castor oil based. Castor oil works on moles and gophers the same way it does us. It covers their food source, they ingest it, it's going to come right back up. They can't stand the stuff, and they'll go elsewhere. For treating your lawns, it works really well. It's a non-poisonous, a non-toxic solution. It's going to cover the worms and grubs, and they're going to go elsewhere. If you're dealing with a large lawn, I would probably start in segments to try to encourage them to keep going out and out till you've gotten them to a safe distance.
Okay, and then also, I mean, I know you advise to use non-lethal options because if people have young kids or pets roaming around the backyard, you don't want to get stuck on that.
Yeah, and you wouldn't want your dog to eat the castor oil, but again, it's castor oil, it's not toxicity. Intention is not to kill the mole. When you put this down on the ground and you water it in, that's not going to be an issue. Your kids can play in the lawn, your dogs too, as soon as it's dry.
All right, and then how do we get rid of like the dirt pile?
I mean, the easiest way, if you can stamp it down, hose it down, grab a trowel, chuck it in the back. Now, gophers can be an issue, and the telltale sign of gophers is, for one, they reuse the same den, and that excavation will be out to the side. More so an open den, if you're dealing with a large gopher, it might be smaller if you're dealing with pocket gophers. But the big sign is your plants will disappear wholesale. That is like a Looney Tunes, and it's gone. What I tell people is that gophers are easier to bait and trap if that's an option for them, but they'll have to deal with the residual on that. You can also use a product like this to basically frame and protect your seedlings until they get the size. It's not a permanent solution and really not practical for large plantings, but it is something you can deal with. Okay,
so these are all good, safe, healthy ways to get rid of your gophers and your moles.
Unfortunately, in Southern Oregon, we deal with a lot of wildlife. The bigger garden is, the healthier garden is, the more attractive it's going to be to our native friends.
All right, well, if you guys have any other questions about trying to get rid of moles and gophers in your yard, of course, you can always head to an expert over at Grange Co-op, or you can check out our website at KDRV.com. Thanks so much for joining us in the garden.